So we're continuing our conversation about Thomas Cole's awesome paintings, the Voyage of Life. And I shared with you in the first of the four paintings, we're up to the third today. I shared with you when we talked about the four paintings the first time that I was first introduced to these in the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. A friend of mine was a docent there. That's a volunteer person who helps as a guide oftentimes, and many times to keep an eye on the artwork and the people. And while he was there, the paintings that really captivated him, he wanted to show to me in our really quick rushed tour of the gallery because it was going to close. And he said, I've got to show you this series because it has meant so much to me and I've spent so many hours looking at these paintings. And I came home and I purchased the very first in the series, a replica, of course. It only cost a few $100s. And over about a 6-month period, I purchased all four. So these now hang in my living room and have been part of my life for decades. And so I wanted to share them with you because I think they teach so much to us. And remember, there are basic characters or elements in each one of the paintings. Number one, there is the Voyager. Number two, there is the river. Number three, there is the guardian angel. And number four, there is the changing landscape. Now, in Wikipedia, it says that the landscape changes according to the seasons. I don't see that because this does not look like a season to me. This looks more like Armageddon. So the first of the paintings is titled Childhood, and we see the child coming out of the cave or the tunnel, moving from left to right. Now in the next one, it's moving right to left, and now we're back to moving left to right. That is one of the things I find most interesting about this series. If I were an artist, and I am not, as the old joke goes down south, I couldn't draw flies on a hot day. Anyway, with the idea of drawing a river and a voyager moving through the river, and the river being a metaphor for life, I would imagine drawing it from left to right, from the past to the future. When we think of future, we always think of the right side, by the way. That's something I learned in advertising. So, however, Cole paints the river as meandering. It's going one way in one painting, it's going another in another. And to me, that is a far better metaphor for what the voyage of life is, this winding, meandering thing where we think we know where we're going and then it changes. Today we're up to manhood. And if you cannot see, and by the way, this means adulthood. This was painted in the 1800s, long before we were awake enough as a species to realize that to call everyone by the male gender was not neither descriptive nor a compliment. So it's called manhood, but of course we would call it adulthood. And the Voyager, of course, is a man. Now, this thumbnail is a bit difficult to see, so I invite you please to Google Manhood by Thomas Cole, or you can Google The Stages of Life, The Voyage of Life by Thomas Cole, or just The Voyage of Life, and you'll find this one. Now let's look at where the Voyager is, let's look where the guardian angel is, and let's look what the landscape is doing. Let's start with the landscape. The landscape is on fire. It looks like it's exploding all around the Voyager. In addition to that, the river is absolutely rapids now. It is no longer this calm thing that the Voyager was navigating. The river is this churning, dangerous, disastrous thing that lies before him. Notice, however, behind him is okay. However, in front of him there are rocks and rapids, and it looks like there's absolutely no way that this Voyager is going to make it safely. I'm not frozen. I'm pausing for a second so you can take that in. Because I know my audience. I know who is watching right now. Can you identify with this? Does it feel like the life that you have lived in the past, now that you are an adult, is all of a sudden a churning rapids? And yet notice that the guardian angel is still there. If you go back and you look at the painting of youth or yesterday's JumpStart, ideally do both, then you'll see that the guardian angel had said, "See you in a bit," in youth, and had diverged, knowing that it was going to reconverge. And this is where the guardian angel converges. The guardian angel is no longer in the boat because the guardian angel no longer needs to be in the boat. The person, the voyager, is now an adult. And of course, when you're an adult, the water around you is choppy. The water before you looks dangerous. The water before you contains rocks and things to smash you up. And so what does an adult do? And I was reading about this particular painting. And one of the things that adults tend to do is they turn to God. You'll notice when you look at the painting in close up that the man is beseeching this higher power. Not the guardian angel. The guardian angel is behind him with her arms open going, "Everything is okay. You are okay." But the man is freaking out and praying that to be delivered from this. And here's the point. I remember when I first got the point, I was looking at this painting and I was feeling really beat up in my life. I was feeling the pain of being an adult. I was feeling the stress of always being the one that everyone looks to for the answers, for the calm. And I was feeling that life was this churning water beneath me. Life was no longer this wonderful, meandering, lazy river. Life was now a rapid, and I was in a craft that was ill prepared. And as I looked at this painting, I realized that the stupid voyager is doing the one thing you never, ever do in a small boat. He's standing up. He's standing up. He's standing up. He would greatly increase his chances of survival if he simply got down into the boat and realized that his guardian angel had never left him, was there protecting him as always, and trusted that though the river looked dangerous and threatening before him, he was and always would be safe if he simply trusted, if he simply acted his age, if he were mature. When my mom died, I spoke at her life celebration. And I found in her Bible something that her Bible was packed full of little scraps of paper. And that was my favorite thing. That's where I really felt like I got to know my mom, was reading all of those little scraps of paper. And I found something and had no idea who had written it. And since then, I have found who wrote it. And I want to share it with you because as we are adults, you and I, let's remember what it means to be an adult and to act our age. I found this, and it was written by Abigail Van Buren. Dear Abby, many of you, I'm sure, have heard it, but nonetheless, I think right now it is so important for us to act mature. It's called maturity. By the way, the reason I'm reading this to you off of my phone is because I shot a picture of this morning. You know why I shot a picture of this? It hangs in the medicine chest in my bathroom so that every morning when I open it, I see it. Because I need to remember this. Maturity is the ability to control anger and settle differences without violence or destruction. Maturity is patience, the willingness to pass up immediate pleasure in favor of long-term gain. Maturity is perseverance, the ability to sweat out a project or a situation in spite of opposition and discouraging setbacks. Maturity is unselfishness, responding to the needs of others, often at the expenses of one's own desires or wishes. Maturity is the capacity to face unpleasantness and frustration, discomfort and defeat without complaint or collapse. Maturity is humility. It is being big enough to say, I was wrong. And when right, the mature person need not say, I told you so. Maturity is the ability to make a decision and stand by it. The immature spend their lives exploring endless possibilities, then do nothing. Maturity means dependability, keeping one's word, coming through in a crisis. The immature are masters of the alibi, confused and disorganized. Their lives are broken promises, former friends, unfinished business, and good intentions which never materialize. Maturity is the art of living in peace with that which we cannot change. If ever there was a time when we needed maturity, it is now. And I want to caution you about something. One of the things that is missing from that list is maturity is not looking around and pointing fingers at how immature other people are being. It is being the adult in the room. It doesn't mean being the stick in the mud. It means being the person who takes responsibility for your own life, who doesn't sit around and bitch and complain about what's wrong, but who realizes that if things aren't great, you are part of the problem and the solution by being an adult. And most importantly, never forgetting that your guardian angel will never leave you. And sometimes you need to just trust that life knows where life is going and stop standing up in the boat and being the problem in your own life. Today, practice your maturity. Practice your adulthood. When you cease to blame and be a victim, then you discover the path to happiness and success. All right, everybody, check in, share your thoughts and comments with me before we say goodbye and I get ready for our complaint-free meditation group. Good morning, says Daniel Byrne. Good morning and rise, says Ed Wilmot. Jerry Cowell says maturity is an art practicing daily. Absolutely. And here is the problem. Today, we are having a lot of people act immaturely. A lot of people. A lot of people in the media, a lot of people in politics, a lot of people in entertainment, and we consider that to be okay. It is not. There is a time in our society and in our world when we appreciated maturity. Maturity is not stoicism. It is not sitting around and pointing fingers and whining to make yourself the center of attention. It is knowing that you are the epicenter of everything in the world and that as you go, so goes the world. I always have trouble remembering if it was Kant. I think it was Kant's universal maxim. What would the world be if everyone in it were just like me? What would the world be if everyone in it were just like me? And my response usually to that is they are. So it's time to change myself. Heather says, I'm definitely still working on maturity. Great message. Miyuki says, good morning. All right, everybody, let me show you the beautiful background that I have picked for our complaint-free meditation group this morning. We've had a lot of new people sign up for our complaint-free meditation program. Why? Because we need it in this time more than ever. We need people who are relaxed and chill, and we need to find it within ourselves to be that way. How's this for a background? Beautiful, huh? I was inspired to do this because last night, as I took Teddy out around 9 o'clock, there was a blood red moon coming over the John Pennekamp State Park. Just absolutely blew me away. So, once again, I want to thank you for being here for the first time. If you're a first timer, and everybody, please click share before you say goodbye this morning. For those of you who are in our complaint-free meditation group, I will see you live there in 7 minutes. We're going to meditate. We're going to get calm, centered, and relaxed so that it's easier for us to act like the mature adults we want to be. And if you're not part of the complaint-free meditation program, check it out. Tomorrow, we are going to be discussing, I don't have it open here. I'll get it in just a second. It'll take me too long. Just keep an eye out. I'll create an event as always. Enjoy today, everybody. Remember, stay safe, wear a mask, don't socially distance, physically distance, and enjoy today. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Bye-bye.